basically is a JSP-based CMS that presents the pages through DWP templates. This is how we're going to have the page set up in general. The DWP templates will call DWCs, and that will bring in the actual content itself, whether it be, in this particular case, a widget of some sort, or, as you see here, a query of some sort to bring in the different stories and content throughout the site. That content is entered in by producers using this software, Methode Swing. Just a second, and I'm logging in. Great time for this to not work. Okay, Rob, you may want to pause for a second while we try and figure out what's going on with this here.
Hey, Rob, have the rest of the team members been through the QA swing training? I don't know if anyone else is sitting in on it this week.
You're asking if the rest of the QA members have been on the methode swing training?
The devs that are on the call right now, have they gone through swing training?
To,
swing?
Yeah, to an extent. They listen to some of it. They've participated just in and out while kind of developing. So
Sure. I have the document, which basically is what the class covered. If you want me to send it out, I could have probably just read the document in a significantly smaller amount of time than going through the class, because you know how it is when you have a lot of people and the instructor needs to go at a certain pace. But I have the document if anyone wants to see it, of the things we covered in the swing class for the QA group.
Yeah, that sounds good. That definitely helps, Susan. Thanks. I actually have a document posted to the training document as well. We probably have the same one. It's like 70 pages or so.
Yeah, that's the same one.
Okay, yeah, I'll link to that. And then it's pulling up for me, Nico.
They just started pulling up now for me.
Okay, cool.
All right, just a moment. All right, so a quick example just to show you what a DWP page looks like. The DWP page has, let me see, that might be a little more fleshed out. All right, has different zones for them to put the information in. I'm going to go into this and edit it. Okay, as you can see here, they've loaded several stories here into the different zones. Now, this is, let's say, style agnostic. Basically, it dumps the information in there without applying any styles or whatsoever to it. Let me go back a little so I can show you that picture once again. The job of the template itself will be to take that information and style it. Now, the style is being applied through another file that's not represented in this diagram, which is called a JPT. Now, the JPT, I forgot what the JP stands for, but it's a template, definitely. The template adds HTML styling to the information that's being brought in through Methode Swing. Now we're going to go over here to Portal Editor, The portal editor configurator allows you to decide which template is being used for which section and so forth. This is more of the server-side portion of it. So as you see, if we go to any home page, in this particular case, we'll go to Access Atlanta, which is being worked on. So that's not a good example. We'll go to 512 Tech. I apologize. Looks like it locked me out. All right, let's check to see if Access Atlanta is working. All right, so the different sections, we'll go ahead and look at the configuration for the home page. Just a moment while it loads. There we go. All right, so as you can see, through the settings, you set which DWP it's using. That's this original framing, let's say, that all of the pages will have. Try to get that back up here. The other configurations that you can go through, as you can see as well, is the frameset.jpt, which decides the look of the information as it comes in. Within frameset, there's also several other JPTs that are called that will style each of the either individual pages or individual elements, depending on which layout you're calling in. Let's go ahead and take a look at our third portion of the trio, and that will be Eclipse. Let me close out some of these. Now, once you've gotten the Eclipse plugin installed for Methode, the first thing you'll want to do is hit this little gold button here so that you can connect to the registry. But mine is already connected, and that will give you this tree of information here. Now, our site in general lives at, for Access Atlanta actually, lives here on NP-free. Now, technically, we can lay out the folder structure in any way you want. But what we're trying to do is consolidate that down to one particular way of doing things. Because as you can see over here in NP Tech, we have a slightly different folder structure than it does for that. So it's more beneficial for you to know how how Methode works in general rather than concentrating on where the files are. Just remember that JPT paints the picture, DWC holds the content, and DWP basically is the framework for everything to be put together. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the frame set. Let's see here. Now, most of this is regular HTML. It's calling in a lot of the meta information for the top. Methode has its own syntax for putting in a lot of this information, but we can go over that in another lesson where we can get more detailed into the use of Methode in Eclipse. This is just a general overview so you can get an idea of how it works in general. Now the styles are called in here. Now these things here, as you put them in, will generate out regular HTML. It's just using these to as a placeholder for variables. As I said, we'll be able to go over that later, which gives you more powerful, more dynamic way of presenting web pages. So our main portion that I wanted to focus on is the P include. Let me see. Not that one. Let's see. We start with our container, our P skeleton body. That is where the, if we go back to our diagram.
Excuse me, I'm
Yes.
sorry to interrupt. Would it be possible for you to enlarge your font just a little bit?
Oh, okay, I thought it was just me.
Thank you.
No problem. Let me see if I can do that.
Yeah, on the editor window.
Uh, Window, editor. I'm not aware how to make it larger. Anyone on the call know how to make it larger?
Is this a machine issue by us, a Mac?
No, it's a Windows machine.
Oh, this is your Windows machine, right?
Hmm.
So does anybody know how to enhance the fonts on a Windows machine? On a Mac, it's Shift, Command, and Plus.
I tried that, but it didn't work.
Oh, okay.
Control Plus usually does work for a browser, but it doesn't seem to be working here.
I think there may be a, like you were looking up there at some of the main menu selections, there may be a way to do it through the interface of this portal editor, perhaps. I'll bring it up on my PC and see if I can find it.
I wonder if there's a way to zoom in using. Nope, not the broadcast either.
There should be a Windows tab that allows you to zoom. Did you try that?
What do you mean?
If you click X right there,
Mm-hmm.
and then you look in the menu at the top, there's a Window tab.
Right here?
Right next, yeah, and then you
Yeah,
see
new
Zoom.
window. No?
Oh no, I don't see Zoom here.
Yeah,
Perspectives, I don't know. Preferences, maybe?
that's all I was just trying to look in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, when in doubt, Google it out. Oh, come on. And now my internet doesn't want to work. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to record this again just for smoothness and continuity, I think. Or at the very least, edit it.
Hey, Nico said his screen just blue screened on him.
Oh no, I didn't.
So he's trying to rejoin now.
Under preference.
Sorry about that.
Hey guys, um,
Sorry about that. My whole computer crashed.
I did find, how to change the font size.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're at that point, I'll.
All right, give me a brief moment.
Yeah.
Now I can't seem to get Eclipse to load. This is not a good day for recording, is it? There we go. All right, so now how do I enlarge the?
Okay, so if you go to window from the main menu, window preferences,
Mm-hmm.
see that text box, the search text box at the very top, just type in the word fonts. It'll take you directly to the sub area. Now go
Symbol
down.
apparent, colors and fonts. There we go.
Now scroll down in that list to, or actually it's at the top, basic, and expand the basic area. And then under basic, go down to the last entry, text font. select text font and then choose edit, the edit button. And then you can increase the font there, the size.
That works. There we go.
Thank you. That's much easier to read. Thank you.
Well, we might go down one size from this, but thank you. That definitely is a lot better. Oh, good. It's right on it. Good. This way we can at least see the whole line.
Right.
And widen this out a little. There we go. All right, so let's go over that again. Meta information. Now this just assumes that everybody, has basic HTML down and everything like that, right? Skeleton body. Now that is going to call in the content, the actual stories, the images, and so forth like that. The p include will call in parts of the page. Like in this particular case, the p include is calling in the story well at the bottom of the page. In Access Atlanta, that would be, well, normally it's this area down here, but it's not configured at the moment because we're working on the site at the moment. But let's say this wrote everything you see with a name on here can be a separate JPT file. So those are the different pieces of the page. The whole framework in general would be the DWP, and that's powered. And the look of that is powered by the frameset JPT. And then the individual JPTs can be called in for the individual pieces as you see them clearly labeled here. And to facilitate an offline development, Kevin Smith has also set up a proxy, which we'll also go over in another lesson, that will allow us to use SAS and some of the other. Let me go ahead and bring that up now. After you have it installed, just a brief moment on my console boots up. Oops. All right, so once you're in the actual folder for your assets, as I said, we'll go over this in detail later. You'll just type in gulp proxy and then the site that you're working on. And what that will do will compile all of the SAS and JavaScript files that Kevin has saved locally, so that we can develop our CSS independently. And that will also allow you to preview the page whenever you're either outside of the office or so forth. Patience running a little slow. Okay, be patient. It's running extremely slow. right, as you see, it compiled the JavaScript files, the SAS files, and then it starts a proxy at this address, which is our new address for the site that we're working on at the moment. And if you go to your web browser and go to localhost 9011, it'll give you, as you can see, it's loading in, accessatlanta.com. Probably running slow since I'm presenting, though. Oh, snap. Like everything is going wrong right now. It's because we're live. That's what it is. All right, so when it does decide to work, it will bring up this page here, which will be your base point for starting off the development. So that's it in a nutshell. Did anybody have any more specific questions? Could I confuse you anymore or anything like that? Is everybody still there?
Yep, still here.
Okay. So did I explain it well enough, or you're good? Tim? Dave?
Yeah, it was helpful for me. Appreciate it, Nico.
No problem, no problem. Any specific questions that you need? For right now.
I don't think so. Not related to this, anyway.
What is your specific question anyway?
It was more general in terms of like stylistic changes for the sites, for the free sites.
I see. That's something I can really speak on that much. All right, so Drew or Rob, I don't know who's controlling the recording, but I think we can stop this. Okay. Alrighty then. All right, so maybe anybody doesn't have any other questions, we can just go ahead and log off.
Thank you, Robert.
My pleasure. If you do have any questions, feel free to ping me. If you want some help getting a page started at least, I can definitely walk you through adding a section so that you can have a playground, so to speak. Does anybody want to volunteer to do that now, or do you want to start another hangout and do that there, or does it really matter?
Are you asking, do we want to see how to create a page from scratch?
Yes, by volunteering one of you as a guinea pig.
Oh, okay. I don't think I have permissions yet to connect to your registry in a kit. So
Oh, okay.
I'll get that set up soon on Monday.
What about you, Dave?
I think personally, it would be more useful when I'm at that point, because I very well may forget between now and the time that I need to do something on a custom page.
All right. What point are you at right now then?
I'm working on the 404 page.
Oh, okay.
But I've got that set up in the portal editor configurator, and it's showing on dev, so I'm just styling it out now.
Let us take a look. I didn't even know we had one of those. Fancy. Now you'll notice that portal editor will kick you out like every 3.5 minutes. It likes a lot of attention. Yeah, I like it so far. Do we have a 404 page live for Access Atlanta in general?
In Medley, I'm pretty sure we do. I don't think it looks like this.
I hope. Always going for better. No, it does not. Your page looks better, sir. Is there a comp for it, or are you just doing it based on?
Yeah, I've got comps.
Oh, okay.
So that's where some of my general style questions come in. But I think we have an 11:30 call around CSS stuff, so I think that'll probably be the better forum for those.
All right. Well, then I guess that'll be it.
Cool. Thanks again.
No problem. Have a great day.
Oh, wait, 1 second. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm just coming in. So I guess you just went through training.
I wouldn't use this recording. That's for sure. With a lot of things going wrong or whatever, I'd be happy to reiterate it, by myself or for someone else if that's the need be. But I don't think you should just use it with all the mistakes, me logging off, a lot of uhs and whatever.
Yeah, I do want these trainings or recordings to be like casual, so it is like more real life. Ideally, in a perfect world, we would have a lot of time to train and get it perfect and like have an outline. But I think like any type of knowledge is good, so we could just build off of this and make it better and better.
Okay.
Because it is something we can start with. So one of the things I want to kind of end off with is how can we get people started? Like, I know Dave, you're started on yours, and Victor, you were trying to do something. So I would like to see if we can guide him and give him some direction on his user story right now.
Not a problem. Victor, where are you at?
We're getting a lot of feedback from somebody. One of you might have to mute.
There are people in my background. I don't know. I'll try and mute it as people talk.
So I was working with Ryan and then Rob a little bit yesterday afternoon. Just don't really know what's the best approach to do what we're doing. Maybe we were having some outside issues that didn't let us finish the work. So basically we're creating a DWC right rail role for the story pages, and we just couldn't do it. So that's where I'm at.
All right, so essentially you were trying to do the right rail DWC right here?
Correct.
Okay.
And because I was sick and I actually missed half of this presentation because I walked into the doctor right at that moment, and I'm gonna go over the recordings for today. But basically, the plan last night was for Rob and I to copy what was done on 512 Tech and basically bring it into the Access Atlanta or MP3 settings. But that's what we were planning to do.
So Nico, if you could just show them how to create a DWC in Swing and kind of go over that part of it, like the templates it uses, that I think that would be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, and that works now, Victor. By the way, they just got that working this morning.
Oh,
So,
really? That's
yeah,
great.
yep.
Oh, we have a channel now?
We have a channel and everything.
I see no channel.
Oh, actually, you have to log in and log back in. It's just cache for you. And Dave, you're good on yours. It sounds like we're going to address your questions in another meeting.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty well set at this point.
All right, let's try making a new DWP. So, where would Atlanta be?
Oh, let me see. So it's not showing up. Oh, so try to open. I guess you have to clear your cache entirely then, because I'm getting something different.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and share my screen.
Please.
Yeah. As you're going through that.
Where is?
All right. Do you guys see my screen right now?
No, I need to stop sharing mine. I just don't know how to turn it off. There we go.
Okay, good. So I'm going to. You should say swing here on the.
Now, does it make a difference that your address is dev-swing Cox Media Group and mine is
Oh no,
10243?
that won't matter. It's just a matter of clearing your cache. So once you clear your cache, you'll see this. And they just fixed it while you were doing the recording. So if you go to Atlanta newspaper, and then our site is accessatlanta.com, you'll see the content for our site. So you create a DWP here or a DWC. And like Nico was saying, DWP is your section type of page where it's a layout for the rest of the content on the page. And DWC is just a subsection or grouping of widgets. We usually use it if we want to associate metadata with a page. Hey Nico, could you please mute? We're getting some feedback from you.
Sorry.
So test DWC. So I go to create. And Victor and I couldn't do this last night. So you see all of these different templates associated with it. This defines how it is laid out. So it looks like I have some here. I'll open up Eclipse and show you what that looks like, but I just want to see if this works. Oh, it looks like it's working. Yep, so you have a top widget and a lower widget. And in this, you can drag and drop items into it. What I clicked on the right was a list of shortcut items, and these are predefined. And what's really helpful is you can go through and favorite a directory, one that you usually use, and you can easily access it here. You can also click up, 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 up to get to the root, so you can access any file using this method. You can also search for content by clicking on the search icon, clicking enter, and then you can pin that to the editor and easily access it for later and start dragging and dropping content into that. So a DWP and a DWC are essentially the same in the sense that they work exactly the same in Swing. They are a container for content. And semantically, we would just use a DWC as a nested object in a DWP. So a URL has a frame set, which may or may not have a DWP, and a DWP can have 0 or many DWCs. So going to that, it's like, okay, how do I know what template it's using? Well, I selected the right URL one, and all you have to do is go to, I guess it's reading this from your code now, which is nice. So let me see if you guys put it in, you're using MP3, right? This is the first time I actually went
That's
into.
correct.
Okay, cool. So let me see. Where would you store the
What are you looking for?
templates for the DWCs?
The DWC templates would be under layouts. We put the DWP, the DWC, and the XML all in the same folder. We
Yeah.
haven't had any DWCs yet, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've all been DWPs and JPTs.
So maybe Ryan is using the 512 tech templates for that. Okay. Well, I'll show you where they're at for MP.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey.
So Ryan is actually using the CMGT directory for this.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. He gave me the reason yesterday, but I don't remember exactly why.
Oh. Okay, so we'll probably just have to transfer that. I'll show you the way it's supposed to be done. So you go to the code here. You go to MP Tech. And you always want your templates in the code. The CMGT directory has contents, mostly. So nptech is loading, it's loading. And then if I go to templates here, you'll probably see a directory for DWCs. You guys will probably have to add a DWC template directory under your layouts when you get a chance. And then DWC and DWP. So this is helpful for looking at the various layouts here. And that's loading. All right, here we go. And then what did I select? Right rel. So you want to see how that's laid out? It's just really an XML file that has a very simple HTML structure. So that's opening, and you'll just see like these tables, these HTML tables. And for this reason, the interface, so you see this right here? Remember what we saw? We saw a top widget and a lower widget. So these are your zones. So you can put these containers in there, as many containers in there as you want. And you could set the max items, you could set the width. You could even make this responsive if you wanted to. But right now it's just like, actually it's 100% of the page, so it should respond. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, putting any real styling on that wouldn't really do anything except change the coloring on the screen that you were just looking at in Swing. It won't do any styling on the actual live page. So, like maybe if you were trying to indicate that one section is more important than the other, we can use like different background colors or something like that. That can be decided later, but for right now, everybody's just using white.
Yeah, so you guys will want to set up a DWC kind of template directory under your Access Atlanta and go to web type configs and make sure it's just pointing to yours. Ryan just might have it pointing to 512 tech, so you guys will have to investigate that. It looks like you have everything else where you put your configuration under web type config here. So that is nice, and I just want to peek at what you guys have here. This is the main configuration file.
And we have barely anything in there, should be.
Oh, good. It makes it a little easier to understand. And then Ryan has right rel here. This is probably what he used. MP free layout story right rel. Oh, he put it under story.
There it is.
Okay. Probably have to take. Well, is it for the story? I guess it's for story or content. I would probably make that a little more generic. He has a story one. Okay, cool. And just to back up some, like when methode sees a URL, it says what frame set do I use, and a frame set is essentially a JPT file. And as Tim pointed out, a JPT file is stored in the memcache server, the EOMDB, and then once the cache is invalidated, it updates. But you have something like a JSP, which is never cache, and you use that on searches and login pages. And then you have something like, I'm getting some feedback from you, Nico.
Oh, sorry.
And then you have a JPP, which is a file that is pretty much cached indefinitely. You use that for like a content page, anything really, really static. So you'll see some examples of when to use what, but 95% of the time you're using a JPT file. And that is really a superset of a JSP file. And a JSP file is like the Java server page. And IDOS Media, they pretty much expanded on the JSP file and created their own tags, and they called it their own proprietary stuff. So JPT Java portal template, JPP Java portal page, and JSP, which is a JSP, which is standard outside of the proprietary commercial IDOS media system. So yeah, like when it goes to a URL, it goes here and it says, what's my frame set? It gets the frame set from portal editor. And this is just a basic workflow. I mean, every URL has a frame set. And you'll see that we have a frame set here. And 512 tag, which is right here. And then you'll see like a home page, and you'll see like each one of these have a frame set. So you see that here. And then if you see inherit, that means it inherits the home page frame set on the subsequent sections here. So that's really helpful to know. I mean, you could just have a URL pointing to a frame set, and it just says hello world, and that's your hello world application. You guys, for testing, I expect you to probably just create some new sections and then point it to your own frame set, and then you could just play around and do anything you want with that. But I'll just also keep in mind that if you have a frame set, you could have a nested DWP, and the way you access that DWP is via a. Oh look, you already got some frame sets, some test frame sets. You guys see that here? Frame set Alan, frame set Ryan. So that's all you got to do to play around with it. So if I go here,
and also if you take a look in like for the layouts, in the layouts folder, we went ahead and created like a section page for each of us. This way we can have a section page to actually put your items in place to where they're supposed to be, and have a home page so you can have your items put in place and not really mess with anybody else's work. Now, we haven't decided how we're going to reconsolidate this all back together, but that's what we're doing so far.
Yeah, right, like right. And the way you access the DWP is they have this tag. Anytime you see a P, that means that's an IDOS media tag. And you see the skeleton body, and that is how you pull in the content of a DWP. So that's some magic going on. When you see skeleton body, it just grabs that content and places it in there. You also want to look at these tags in more detail, so I will give you a link to that. I'm getting some feedback from you, Nico. So if you get a methode cheat sheet here, you can go here. And that will describe the tags and details. I will go ahead and probably let Tim take over now, just to, if you have time, Tim, to go to that link there and go to the tags and kind of talk about the ones we use daily, the methode tags. Would you mind doing that, Tim?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm looking at the cheat sheet now.
Okay, perfect. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Okay, so what's the format here? We just have the tag, the namespace. See my screen?
Good.
Just a second.
And I will mute.
Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah. So let's see. The C namespace is generally for JSP tags. Actually. there is. I'm gonna drop another link in chat. Okay, so anyway, the C namespace, those are tags that are JSP specific. You can find information about those pretty much anywhere on Google. So the if tag is just standard if. Choose, when, and otherwise are switch statement. So choose is just a bare tag. There's no attributes in it. And then you would use when for each of the cases in a switch statement. And then otherwise is default.
So, Tim, you can have multiple ones, I guess, inside the choose?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, cool.
Let's see. I don't know that I've ever used C import. I generally use.
Quick question, Tim. If you do have multiple wins, how do you put them together with an and win or also win?
So that would end up looking. Okay, so if you're doing a choose statement, you would just structure it like this.
So do both of those have to be true?
No, okay, so it's going to go down the list. So it's going to check this one. If that's true, then you're going to get the result of this, and it's going to skip everything else. If that's false, then so it's going to cascade down.
Okay.
So if it's true, it skips everything else and goes to the next tag, I guess?
Yes.
Okay. So it's like an else if statement.
You can think of it that way.
Okay.
If, else if, and then the just else. Yeah, so that's the way that one works.
Okay.
So the test itself, as far as I know, it has to be wrapped in EL. EL is this syntax that you may have seen where you can operate on variables that are in scope. So if I were to use cset,
Hey, this is a nice demo, live demo, Tim. This is awesome.
so you'd be able to check and see if foo is empty. And that basically just says, is there a foo set in scope? Do we know about foo? And if not, and I might be truthy, I don't know about that. Let's add this to the story. Alright, so what I'm going to do is go and copy the path. So I clicked on demo JPT, copy path. And then I'm going to replace this style name with the demo JPT. And so now if I load access it now.
And while Tim is pulling that up, I posted a link to the JSTL tags here. You can pretty much go there. They're standard Java template tags. There's a library. What's something I definitely want to go over are the magic P tags that are CMS specific. And I've seen P out use, P includes, P URLs. And I think, Tim, if you touched up on those, that would be really helpful.
Sure.
Great.
Trying to. They recently changed the
Oh,
URLs.
yeah.
I'm trying to find my story.
Oh, you're trying to. Oh, did they change the URLs? Yeah.
So I guess I can share this today. So I have a story that I've been working on in Swing.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to web publishing, and I've got a destination for Access Atlanta, and then hit preview. And page does not exist.
Oh, wow.
They just recently gave us the preview-dev-accessatlanta.com for an address. So whatever you had before as your address for it, you can just. Are you trying to find the live version of it?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the story that I've been.
Where did it live before?
It lived. Whatever.
Take out Access Atlanta.
Right, I just added that because it's still working.
I always do this, Tim. Like, I'll have to report this as an issue. In the meantime, we could go to, I think, the frame set. Let me see if the regular homepage works, and then we could just demonstrate these ideas in the frame set. So let me see if that page pulls up.
Got it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I did, I went to the page ID Lloyd. I'd forgotten about that.
Oh yeah, can you please paste that URL in the chat? This is a good secret, guys, where you can get to any content, any piece of content by Lloyd. And the Lloyd is a unique identifier in the methode. And hey, Nico, could you please mute? A Lloyd is a unique identifier in methode, but when you have UUID, that's a unique identifier for an object across the web. It's really helpful. Okay, cool.
Okay, so this is the demo section up here. What were we talking about? So you think we're good to skip the C tags and just move on to the P tags?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Rob, I got distracted by a message from my current group. What were you saying about the unique identifier?
Yeah, there's a Lloyd. You can access the Lloyd if you go to Eclipse and you open a file. You'll see the Lloyd in the console, but it's a identifier to uniquely identify a piece of content. And there was a URL that Tim posted that allows you to, given that you know the Lloyd, you can get to that page. So you just use the URL he posted in the chat here.
Okay, I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the X namespace is similar to the C namespace in that it's JSP standard, so you can find all of that on Google. The X namespace is working with XML, XPath, so you could just show that off real quick because it's pretty cool.
Oh, the X stuff. Where does that come from? What library?
It's just JSP standard.
Oh, nice.
So what I'm doing here, in my metadata for the story, I have bylines. And so what I'm doing is for each byline, so this is XPath to grab a byline node, put that into the byline URL, or into the byline variable. And so now if we go back and view, oh, I know what I did. So it was just giving me the node itself. Okay, so what we're going to want to do here, back up a little bit and use pout.
And what does C out do
So
for the recording?
Alright, so I'm going to plug this in first, make sure that I have it right, and then I'll explain it. I always do this when I'm presenting and I'm refreshing a page because it goes back to the Hangout, and I refresh the Hangout and I disappear. So I'm sorry, it's probably going to happen again. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, I guess you have to share your screen again.
Share my screen again. Lost the Hangout. But it's still here. Alright, can you all see my screen?
Yep, we can.
Not sure why I'm still getting this text. But in any case, we have examples of this throughout the code using the X4 each. I'm sure I'm missing something, some nuance there. But let's just move on. Okay, so cheat sheet. XIF is the same. You can just, so you would do XIF select and then just reference the XPath directly. It's just going to check to see if that node exists. And if it does, then you get true, and it'll go into the body of that. Okay, so pout. There are two different ways to use this. There's xValue, which uses an XPath, and value, which you would use the EL to get the value of something on the page. So let's demonstrate that. So what this should do is just print 3. So we've got pout 3. And then if I were to do xValue, what this should do is grab the first byline and print that out. So the xValue is Elizabeth the Queen. Okay. We could also take the value of pout and plug it into a variable instead. And so what that'll do, we won't get any output here. Instead, that's available as a variable. So we're back to 3. I think that's everything that's relevant for PO. No, okay, XSLT. So this is pretty interesting. So when you're using pout, what you can do if you have XML, so in this case we're using X value, you can, before you print it, you can pass it to an XSLT file. So if my hands are on the right keys. Let's see, XSLT, and then so let's create an XSLT file. And it's going to be easier if we copy that from somewhere, because there's, let's go from there. So, all right, so theoretically, because there is no XSL template here, this should now print nothing because we don't have anything to transform, or we're not transforming anything. Theoretically. Not sure what's going on there. Make sure I have that right. So, let's try that. So what I just did, I'm guessing that there's a implicit part of this XSLT where if there's no template or if nothing matches, then it just skips the XSLT entirely. But what I'm doing here, so we're passing the XML from byline on down. So this is just one XML node. We're passing that to demo XSLT, then matching byline and not printing anything out. So if I get the value of that, I don't want to go too deep into XSLT here. Okay. So that use the XSLT transform to print out test and then the value of byline. And then I changed the output method to text because if I changed it to, or if I'd left it at HTML, I'm not sure it would have worked. It might though, because HTML could just have include content. XML might have failed. There's different outputs that you can have. HTML, XML, text. There might be some other ones, but generally we want to use HTML. Let's see. Okay. Excuse me. Sorry. Okay. So PURL. So we talked about var in pout. Most of these tags have a var, and they operate the same way. If the var is present, then what would normally be printed to the page gets put into the var. And so that's true of most of these tags. And you can look at the tag doc that I linked to see all of the available attributes for all of these tags. Okay, so PURL. Let's step down the timeline. Let's just look at an example of that one. Okay, so the way that PURL works is you pass in the value or the X value, and it references one of these files in the EOMDB, and it transforms it so that that file is accessible. You know, it's using the public URL for that file. So here we see poor URL images favicon, and if we were to look on the page, actually it's easier to view the page source. That has been translated so this portal URI becomes the actual public path. And if we were to change that, so I'm going to steal that URL for the demo page. Okay, so we see that value printed out here now. And so now we can start looking at some of the options that are available to PURL. Okay, so making public true gives you the absolute path. You don't have to just pass in a static file. You can also use something like web object. You know, I haven't done web object too much, so might need to skip that one. See if there's an example. Oh, image format. That would be valuable. So methode has this built-in formatter, and the way that you can see the available formats, if you were to find that file, actually, not necessarily. Sorry about the crying baby in the background. Okay, so if you find a image file in EOMDB, you can right-click and go to Preview Formats, and then it'll show you all of the different formats that are available. And so what happens when you add an image through Swing is it'll go through and process that image and create a new image for all of these different formats, resizing it, changing um, the aspect ratio, things like that. And so we're using the format image low res here. And so what should happen, go back and look at. Alright, so right now it is actually side by side. It might be hard to see the change. Right, so it uses the image low res folder where that file has been copied, and the size will change. Let's see about. This could take a while to go through all these. Do you think I'm going too much into depth, Rob?
He jumped off the call, but no, not at all.
Okay, so this is.
I am learning a lot from this, so I really do thank you for this.
Awesome. I'm not sure what on air does. I'm assuming it's pretty straightforward, but it's not necessarily a great assumption. It can be difficult to make assumptions about what some of these tags do. So I'll jump over to the tag doc.
Looks like Alan and Dave are waiting in the meeting about about CSS.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to jump off, go to that, and then pick this up like after lunch?
Yeah, I mean that'd be good. Hopefully, everybody has time after lunch.
All right. Cool. Well, we'll see you all in the other meeting.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Tim.